Hello, welcome to your week ahead review. This is Richard Williams, your Simple FX senior mentor and coach. Before I start, I'd like to start by welcoming all the new delegates which attended our Mod 1 on Friday. Welcome to Simple FX. Very much looking forward to working with you in the future. So before we go ahead, a couple of things I should just point out. You should have had by now the rules of the room. These were posted to you on Friday. If you're unsure or if you didn't get them, let me know and I'll get them sent over. Very important that we follow these rules. Main reason is we don't want any disturbances once we get started. It can be very distracting if people continue to ask questions or comment in the room. Or join late. We have to be strict. We have a code of conduct. We do try to abide by FCA rules, even though we're not FCA approved. As you know, Simple FX is more of a hobby than a business. So what we aim to do is to give the quality service for everybody and all. So very strictly, please do not comment or ask questions once the session begins until you are invited to ask questions. Okay, so what is the week ahead review? So what we shall do now is I'll just go over the economic calendar. We'll talk about what's hot, what's not, a little bit on the previous week, and certainly what to look forward to for the coming week. We then have a short Q&A session later on to talk about or go over any questions you may have to do with trading, the news for the week coming. Remember that the room starts 7 o'clock in the morning, around about. The guys start sharing news, and it's then we'll sort of continue with this session and see if we can identify any good trading opportunities. All right. Okay. So with further ado, let's get stuck in. So let's have a quick look at last week. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the main winner in terms of points being the pound versus the dollar. Some 150 points at one point, moving down to just a little over 100 gained versus the dollar. As you know, the pound has been in focus recently, particularly around the Brexit talks, but more noticeably to do with the interest rate increase. As you know, we covered most of it. What happened here was the Bank of England and Mark Carney, although he increased rates, he did put out a very dovish statement, and this was not well received. However, with the Brexit talks slowly moving forward and some positive data, we are starting to see some recovery there. And it's got to be my trade call for the week. I actually see a stronger pound going forward, mainly because of the Brexit talks are slowly starting to proceed. So my trade call for the week will be to buy pound dollar. Let's have a quick look at the chart. Okay, so look at the daily. Okay, so you can see we did have some good strength, or should we say weakness, in the dollar, which resulted in a stronger pound. Moving forward, let's have a look. Yeah, so this is when Mark Carney spoke and he put up rates. What we actually got was a rise in the pound, followed then by a drastic drop. As you know, some 200 points were lost. We didn't have a great trading session on this, truth be known, but hey ho, can't win them all. So as you can see now, things are starting to loosen up a little bit, and the pound recovering some of that. Where it goes to from here is very much an unknown, but I'd like to see that we'd certainly get back to the heights that we saw originally, so 133 maybe. Again, remember, this is only part of the problem. We are identifying the direction, but don't forget it's all about entries as well. But we'll talk a little bit more about that going forward. Okay, so moving on to dollar yen, the dollar losing some ground versus the yen here, also versus the Canadian dollar. So truth be known, the dollar has had a difficult week last week, not really pulling up the points that I thought it would have done versus the CAD. However, dollar oil being so strong has been the main reason for the losses here versus the dollar. As you know, the Canadian dollar is linked to oil, so if oil's good, and we know it has been, so will the Canadian dollar. There was also some positive news out for the Canadian dollar, which helped to support that. Euro, yeah, making some ground there, certainly finishing the week on a positive note. We'll look at more at that shortly. Okay. So what have we got this week? Fairly quiet start to the week, Monday. Nothing of any real substance to go at. Tomorrow evening, this might bring a small move, but certainly the day is very much a non-entity. So what we might see is a small move in the markets on the dollar. So really difficult to trade tomorrow, I think, but we shall see. Okay, so Tuesday certainly brightening up. We've got some decent data coming out for Germany. This one should bring a move. I won't run a live session for this. It's far too early in the morning for getting you all up for that. But I think we have something to go at a little bit later on. Yeah, so some UK data and a live session will be in full flow for this one. Okay, we shall also continue the live session into the EU data, which GDP, which will be out not long after, so 10 AM for this one. Looking fairly in line. We'll see how that pans out. Fairly quiet US session, so the UK and the EU data being the main focus here. Wednesday, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a US session, so a live session will be in full flow for this one also. So a quiet morning for Europe. We will look at this and see how that affects the markets, but the main focus certainly will be in the US session. Thursday, yeah, you'll have seen that I've just popped a live session in for this. It's only 12:30. We can get up and have a go at this, can't we? I like the employment change on the Aussie. We tend to get a bit of a move. So with live sessions being in short supply last week, I'm going to try and make it up to you, see if we can nick a few points on this one. Quiet morning. Up until this point, when we CPI for the Eurozone, moving on into the afternoon, some jobless claims at 1:30. So a bit of a mixture of data for the US session, but nonetheless, we'll be on this. Friday morning, yeah, quiet one. As you know, we normally have Fridays off, but we'll have a go at this. I'll put a live session together. We'll jump on this for an hour or two, see if we can pick up some points at the end of the week. As I said, live sessions have been in short supply with the big data week before last and the hangover last week. So we'll see if we can pick something up there. What else can we look at? Okay, let's have a look at some news. I noticed this earlier on. So, as you know, there's been some talk with Trump's tax planning. There was a small reaction last week, unsure of what the overall feeling is of this. As you can see, Wall Street closes marginally lower as tax plan uncertainty weighs on sentiment. The markets are still to get to grip with Trump and his future plans, and I do believe that's been the reason for a rather choppy dollar of late. So just looking at this dollar index on a 4-hour chart, certainly on the low area, I did fancy the dollar to make a bit of a comeback. Certainly as we've got our interest rate decision coming up in the future. Let me just have a look at the calendar. I'm pretty sure I saw Fed minutes next week. Well, bear me a second. No, on one of the other calendars, I did see that there was a Fed release of the minutes next week, but it doesn't seem to be in my calendar at the moment. But as you know, these calendars are subject to change, and we will react accordingly should it change. So, just looking at the dollar on the daily, yeah, lost some serious ground as you can see here. I do believe that the dollar will come back. Serious psychological levels here. Going to see how this pans out in the new year. As you know, the Fed have not been shy in talking about interest rate decisions, and they're on. I think they mentioned there's going to be about 3 next year. Be interesting. As you know, Powell is now the chairman. Yellen stepping down soon, so he's a dollar bull. He's also Trump's main man. He's a voter pretty much at every meeting, so we may well get those 3 interest rate increases. Rather him than me, has to be said. What else can we talk about? See what's happened over the weekend here. Nothing of any great importance. Okay, so European Investment Bank concerned lending may fall because of Brexit. Estimates that lending volume of the EIB could fall by 100 billion euros if the EU states don't replace the 16% of total capital share by the UK. Yeah, it's all rhetoric. Scaremongering in my view. You know how I feel about Brexit. That's another subject. Okay, let's have a quick look at the euro. Yeah, high. I think there's more to come. I think there's more to come from the euro. Could end up getting to about there. Of course, this is just my view. So my trade call this week will be to buy pound dollar. We're waiting for the dollar to make a recovery. I do believe that will come at some point once people start to get a feel for this Fed hike, and we should be on it. Alright, well listen, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. I shall be posting this in your room shortly, and we'll have a little chat. As I said, welcome to all the new people. Look forward to working with you this week. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Take care. Bye-bye.